Vuoro on vasta sitten iltapäivällä. Ei mennä asioiden edelle, koska meillä on tähän päivään ihan mahtava aloitus. Me saamme todellakin ulkopuolisen näkökulman tähän ihmiseltä, joka on katsonut Suomea jo sisältäkin päin. Eli meille tulee tarjoamaan tätä näkökulmaa Yhdysvaltojen entinen Suomen suurlähettiläs ja nykyisin Aalto-yliopistossa opettava Bruce Oreck. Ja mä oon ihan varma, että meillä on tiedossa aika voimaannuttava puheenvuoro. So dear audience, now you can sit back and relax, because we have a fantastic opportunity to listen to one of the most popular keynote speakers in Finland, Mr. Bruce Oreck. And his headline is Finland at 100 years, building the 21st century on a Finnish foundation. I'm truly happy to welcome Mr. Bruce Oreck to the stage. Welcome.
Thank you. Okay. So, I am coming here today to make trouble, which I enjoy doing. I'm going to start with the word provocare, which means to call out. It's from the Latin, to call out. And it's the root word of the French provocateur, the agent provocateur, the troublemaker. And that's me, the person who is unhappy with things as they are and is always pushing for something different. And I'm going to therefore ask you to engage with me and cut me a little slack, give me a little space to be provocative. So, 1, disruption is coming for you. You're going to have to trust me on this. It doesn't matter what business you're in. It doesn't matter how much you think your business or your skill, your knowledge is immune. It's not. The world you know, the business you know, the jobs you know are going to be disrupted, and that's just the way it's going to be. There was a study done by IBM just about 3 years ago called Capitalizing on Complexity. They went out and they interviewed 1,500 of the top CEOs around the globe, big companies, and they asked them, what are they looking for? You know, what do they see? And they saw businesses that were becoming more volatile, more uncertain, more complex, structurally different. This is not where they think that this is stormy weather and the air will smooth out. Just the contrary. They think the bumpiness is just the beginning of a world that's much, much more volatile, more uncertain, more complex. And some of you, when I'm talking here, are not going to believe me. Some of you may agree with me. But either way, I'm going to tell you that you're not prepared. You're not prepared for the change that's coming. Don't take it personally, because according to The Economist, nobody's prepared. Because nobody has really thought about this, how it impacts them. It's always somebody else's business or profession or skills that are going to be disrupted. And that's the wrong view. So, I'm going to move fast because we have not too much time. This is Finland, and there are really a tremendous number of extraordinarily well-educated people here, but I've got bad news for you. You are no longer the smartest person in the room. I know some of you privately probably think you are. My dog thinks he is. You're not. And you never will be again. Because this isn't a smartphone. This is an interface to a cloud filled with computers which do computer intelligence and artificial intelligence. And what it's capable of is far beyond what you're capable of. And it's just getting started. This year we come on from binary computers to quantum computing, and the world has changed. You'll never be the smartest person in the room again. In just another about 3 years, IBM estimates that human knowledge will double every 12 hours. No possible way you could even keep up with it, no matter how smart you are. So that's an interesting challenge. And evolutionary biology is keeping you from both seeing the problem and the solution. We are all victims of how we evolved, and it blocks us. So let's take a detour to biology. I promise you, it's okay. I know you came here and thought you weren't going to go back to biology class, but here you are. So the evolutionary path is your problem. Because evolution drives what you think, it drives how you act, it drives what you perceive. You may think you're in charge. You may think, I'm a Finn, I'm particularly logical. I understand the rules and I know how to do that. I'm a good engineer, I'm a good technician. Sorry, you are a victim of your biology, and I'm going to prove it to you. So, simple question. Which one of these two images scare you? That one or this one? Now, I promise you that if I reached into my pocket and I took out a big wolf spider like that and put it in someone's lap here, I could take 800 people and get them out of this room in less than a minute. Even the folks in the back would be running. But realistically, last year around the globe, something in the range of maybe 30, 40, 50 people at maximum around the globe out of 7 billion died from spider bites. Nobody here is afraid of a taxi. Yet in the United States alone, 34,000 people were killed by cars last year versus 50 by spiders. I've never seen a Finn run in fear from a car. In fact, I see you guys with the white stripes. You walk right across. The car's coming at you at 30 kilometers an hour, but you know the laws of physics don't apply because you have the right of way, right? You're afraid of the wrong thing. Interesting. Just for the fun of it. Afraid of sharks? Anybody here an ocean swimmer? Get out there, see the movie, dun, 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 right? You worry about sharks. Funny thing is, you should be afraid of selfie sticks. Because last year, more people died in accidents caused by them using a selfie stick than died from shark bites, right? Holy cow, there's a selfie stick, I'm out of here. Right? Why? What the hell is going on? Why are you afraid of the wrong things? Well, the answer is biology. It's the amygdala. It's this place of the base of the brain that goes back to our very origins that kept us alive. Be afraid, be afraid, be afraid, be afraid. And by being afraid, you had a chance of surviving. And it's still there the way it was hundreds of thousands of years ago, before our species even was who we are today. And it drives you. Now, reducing risk was great for survival in our evolutionary past, and this required the ability to identify patterns. And this is where we really get in trouble. So, here's a question. How many of you all can see the snake? Take a look. Do you see the snake? Which is interesting, because you've actually never seen this snake. It's a real snake. It is a poisonous snake. It's a rattlesnake. It's called a copperhead. But it is found only in the eastern U.S., in the deciduous forests among the leaves of the eastern United States. So unless you've been a hiker in the Appalachian Trail, you've never seen the snake. But you can see it. Your brain is hardwired to see the pattern. You see the snake hidden in the leaves, even though you've never seen it. And that's generally a good thing, but here's where we get in trouble. This patterning function of our brain leads us wrong in today's world. Leads you astray. Can you see the spiral? You see the blue lines and the green lines in a spiral, right? Yes? I know it's Finland, but I'm not asking much. Yes, no. Right? You see the spirals? Okay. Well, your brain made that up because the green and the blue are the identical color. The green and the blue are the identical color. The green and the blue are the identical color. Your brain is so desperate to create a pattern that it makes stuff up. And it'll make you see what is not there. How many of you all see the box? Okay, you do know there is no box on the screen. There are 4 Pac-Man-like creatures But I dare you to not see the box. Unsee it. You can't. The brain is so desperate to create a pattern to keep you alive, it makes stuff up. There is no box on that screen, only the one your brain made up. And if you don't believe me, this next one will get you, right? Just for the fun of it again. And if I make you look at this for more than about a minute, your brains will fry. How many legs does the elephant have? Your brain says elephants have 4 legs. And you will continue to work on this pattern, this image, until you bleed out of your ears, trying to make that elephant have 4 legs, even though it does not. That's how driven you are by the pattern-making wiring of your brain. And because we like to make patterns, we draw on familiar things. Familiarity breeds predictability. Predictability kept us alive. But today, predictability keeps you from seeing. So, for example, this one, you see the stuff in that guy's teeth, right? We've all had that problem after lunch. You worry about, do you have the stuff in your teeth? 800 people in this room, and not one of you noticed that the woman has 6 fingers. Not one of you. Because it's not relevant. It's not, it's unpredictable. You're looking for the predictive pattern. Right in front of your face, you can't miss it. There she is, right? And you didn't see it. Because your brain is a pattern-making machine. No matter how smart you are, and I'm going to assume that all of you here know that on average we have only 5 fingers per hand, but you did not see it. And just as you look for patterns in what you see, you create patterns in what you think. It's the same thing. It's called reproductive thinking. We do it in behavior, in education, in business. Think about how you see the films, the nature films with parents, teaching ducklings or little bears or how to do this and how to do that. It's reproductive thinking. And we do it with our children. Right? Do it this way. Follow me. Do what I do. It's how we teach, and it's how we conduct our business. Because it gives us comfort, because it's a pattern. And it keeps us from seeing other opportunities. It keeps us from seeing change. It keeps us from seeing disruption. Just like you didn't see the 6 fingers. Exactly the same. This is how, in fact, we see the world. I don't care how smart you are, you can't help it. You're still human, and your brain is built a certain way. This is called cognitive dissonance. I call it adaptive ignorance. You block out the information that you don't think is important or relevant because you're focused on the pattern. You saw the spinach in the guy's teeth, you thought about spinach in your own teeth, and you didn't see the 6 fingers. Just that simple. And it happens over and over and over again in everything we do. Now, again, this is a biological fact. We have so much data. We have a filtering system. When I grew up in New York City, there were 5 TV stations, and they went off at midnight and came on at 6 a.m. That was the world of digital information or data, right? 5 TV stations closed from midnight to 6. Can you imagine if the internet closed from midnight till 6 a.m.? There are millions of YouTube channels, thousands of specialty cable channels and TV and data. The overflow of information is overwhelming. But we have this filtering system in our brain. And let me give you an example. Because we're overwhelmed with data, we have to turn it off. Until I mention it to you right now, you didn't feel your shoes on your feet, or your shirt on your back, or your socks, or whatever it is, or the glasses on your head. The data was there, but you had filtered it out because it wasn't important. And this happens all the time. And your system is overwhelmed with it. And in a 24-hour world, which is completely artificial, throw in artificial lighting, electronics on all day long, this constant flow of data, your brain is overwhelmed, so you have that box is getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and you're falling back into patterns more and more. If you combine pattern thinking with a data so filled with inputs that it overwhelms your filter system, what happens? And the answer is you're driven to act on what you believe, not on the facts, what you believe. Right? You believe that woman had 5 fingers, even though she didn't. You believe there was a box on the screen, even though there wasn't. You believe those colors were different. You believe there was, you act on beliefs, not on data. No matter how irrational those beliefs are, such as my business is not going to be disrupted, no computer could possibly do what I do, no one's ever going to find a better way to do this without me, that things will change all around me but not my stuff. No matter how irrational that is, that's what you believe because that's how you're built. It's not your fault. But if you're aware of it, well, okay. So, here's the issue, simply stated. The problem is not the technology itself, it's the gap. Our evolutionary brain, we're still on the plains of Africa. It's the same system. We're on iOS, we're on brain, software version 1.0, and the technology's taken off, and there's this gigantic gap. And we can't deal with it. We're not wired to deal with that. We come to our lives and we want to be like this guy, whom I don't know who he is, but he's got the coolest hair ever. Now, I got it. So we all come to this thinking we're smart, we're going to think our way out of this, we're going to Einstein our way out of this, right? But here's the truth. This is us. Well, in this case, that's my brother, Tom. But he does have more hair than me. We have a problem here. We have this gap between who we think of ourselves as and the reality of our biology. Let me put it another way. You come to the problem with your IQ. You're smart. And you think you're going to think your way out of these issues or the problems of reality. And I just proved to you that your brain, your IQ, doesn't help you. We could do a test here and test for the smartest person in this room. They still saw the box. They still saw the colors wrong. They still tried to put 4 legs on the elephant, and they still didn't see 6 fingers. So the challenge of the 21st century and the opportunity for Finland is not that you're supposed to give up your IQ, because that's important, but rather to realize that the challenge of the 21st century and the opportunity going forward is not based purely on IQ, but rather it's based on EQ, which is emotional intelligence. Because emotional intelligence is where creativity lies. It's where real innovation occurs. It's where real transformation happens. It's where real opportunity lies. And we all have it. We all know that. We can walk into a crowded party and you look across the room and you go, that's the person I want to talk to. Sometimes that's the person I want to marry. Sometimes you meet someone and you go immediately, what a jerk, right? This is all working at EQ, at the emotional intelligence level, which we all have. And interesting, the IQ, there's a gap between technology and IQ, but there's no gap on EQ. EQ version 1.0 still works exactly the same way as it did for us hundreds of thousands of years ago. It still works. Emotional intelligence is H2H. It's the person-to-person aspects. It is the thing that computers cannot do. A computer can do your job better and faster at a lower cost. It doesn't take a vacation, it doesn't get sick, it doesn't get distracted. It works 24 hours a day. It can read more and remember more. The new computers read natural language, you don't have to program them. But it can't do this. It cannot do this. And therefore, if you want to know the foundation, where is Finland going and what's the opportunity for the 21st century, is to say, okay, you've reached the top of the class on the IQ scale, right? Recently rated the most literate country in the world. Got a great education system, smart people, all those good things. Where are you on the H2H skills? How do you bring that not only to your businesses, but the businesses that are yet to come? How does Finland skill itself to bring its emotional intelligence up to top of class, best in class? And that is the great opportunity, because going forward, those same business leaders who said it's going to get tougher and tougher out there say the number one thing they're all looking for is people who are creative, people who have high EQ, people who get the human-to-human interaction. So this is a great opportunity. In fact, it's the biggest opportunity of the 21st century for Finland and for other countries, for those who can take and build on their IQ by bringing their EQ up to the same level of performance. And in that, you will not only find ways to protect the jobs you have, but to create the new businesses and the new opportunities, even in the face of a world that's becoming more and more computerized. So that's the message, is stop fighting your biology, do what you were built to do, and that is to be human, and hone those skills, polish them, refine them. And just like so many other things that Finns do, there's no reason why Finns can't lead in businesses around the world because of an excellence in emotional intelligence.